Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
Hey, this is Jumpin' Jim Brunzel. When you have an opportunity, you got to listen to Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Seal of Approved. Count It Out with insert name here and Tyler, because Mike has left me for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, who knows. By the time this is airing, congratulations, Mike, brand new child in the world, baby girl, wonderful stuff. That we are recording this before the baby was born. So either way, congratulations, buddy. We love you. And I had to dive into the roster of the Count It Out family. And I pulled out one of my personal favorites, my prodigy, if you will, from back in our classroom days. But he's all grown up now. He's no longer a prodigy. He is the man now, the man behind the Independent Epicenter. Did I get that?
You fucked it up. I knew it.
I always fuck up stuff. That's my gimmick. I got
that's your gimmick here.
I got my gimmick. I fuck everything up. Just ask our good friend Rob. He'll tell me every week. I got my boy Anthony, Mr. Cerulli. Anthony, you're setting the world on fire, man. What's going on? It's been a while.
What's going on, bud? It's been too long. Last time I was here, we had our classroom in the background. We had all this different stuff. Now I got a handheld. I call it my Bob Euchre mic. The skinny fucking thing.
Bob Barker.
The Bob Barker. You see,
Yeah.
Now I'm fucking
There
things
you go.
up here.
It's contagious.
Yeah, get your foot off my shoulder. But no, I'm doing great, man. A lot of great stuff happening. Great stuff for you as well. I've been checking out all the episodes, and I'm excited for this. Finally, When was the last time I was on? It was with was it the one when we talked about the go away? No, wait, I was on for Jonah, right?
Yeah, we did the Royal Rumble one with Jonah. You were the surprise Royal Rumble entrant.
Right, number 30.
We had you on doing a list as well. You did the missed opportunities in wrestling history there, WWE.
Yeah. Well, that's the one when we talked about like the go away heat and all of that.
Yeah, and we talked about the go away heat, and we got a great topic this week that we're going to get into. Before we get into that, before we get into the list, which you made a list this week, you're counting down in honor of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, the top 7 Hell in a Cell matches over the last decade, 12 years or since 2010, right? Is that where we're going?
Yep.
Awesome, man.
That's 10 years.
I'm excited to get to that, but I want to know more about what's going on in your world, man. Tell the people about the logo behind you there.
Yeah, so this is a new thing. Last time I was here, I didn't have this going on, but recently I started something called the Independent Epicenter, and this is kind of my new thing going forward. Basically, I started this as a link between myself and different independent wrestling companies to make kind of digital content that promotes their company, get some hype behind them. Basically, a lot of the stuff that, for lack of a better term, like independent wrestling companies are lacking, I kind of pick up on that place, be it with interviews or, promotional videos, social media content, pre and post shows. I really do it all. And it's fun. Like I've been working so far. I have 2 companies that I'm working with. One of them I just started working with. It's called We Are Wrestling. They're based in New Jersey. They have some great guys. They just had their show One Step Closer. It was this past Sunday from when we were recording this. And they had guys like Jay Lethal on the card, Trish Adora, O'Shea Edwards, some phenomenal names. Wow. And the main company that I've been working with and doing a lot of the bulk of my work with the Epicenter is Invictus Pro Wrestling. And they're kind of more of a well-known independent wrestling company, especially in the New York area. They are phenomenal. I mean, we talk about independent wrestling promotions. Like these guys are really at the top of their game right now. They're putting off so many amazing shows. They have some of the best talent that you could find in the New York area. Guys like, Big Game Leroy, Big Trouble Ben Bishop, Mucho Chris Moljo, even though I hate his guts. You got Takeover over there with Jay Bougie, PJ Savage, the Faceless Ones. And speaking of Takeover, they just had their last show for Takeover versus Shane Taylor Promotions. That was a huge event that they did. Had so many amazing contests. They had a bodega street fight, which was it was something. It was definitely it was kind of the New York equivalent of that Christmas match that you had over at Barry Wrestling. That's the best way I could put it. A lot of chips were flying. I'll say that.
That's awesome. And speaking of it, there is a tie in there too, because Puff and Young Jay Lee have done some work over at Invictus Pro Wrestling. And Young Jay Lee especially, man. Not to take anything from Puff, because he's incredible as well. One of the most entertaining guys in the business for sure. But Young Jay Lee, man, that guy is setting the wrestling world on fire right now. Banger after banger after banger. He's big with C4 Wrestling right now. Just had a great match with Josh Alexander a couple months ago. Every month he's stealing the show at Barry Wrestling. He's going to be challenging for their 3-pistol championship soon. So if you guys have not checked out Young Jay Lee, make sure go out of your way and check him out.
Yeah, definitely go. He's only been around for they had the 8th City Open, which was their kind of a trios tournament. That was the first show that I actually worked on for them, and just phenomenal work on that show. And if you want to check out Invictus Pro Wrestling, you can either watch them on IWTV. They do basically monthly shows. You have to check out their Instagrams to see when their next show is going to be. You can also catch their match. They do one free match per show on YouTube, and the match that they usually put up there is easily the match of the night by far. They just put up one for the Takeover versus SDP event, and they put up Mucho Chris Moljo, who is the social media champion, which is basically their top champion. He went up against CPA. CPA is definitely an interesting character, to say the least. He's basically just a wrestling accountant.
I love it.
So
IRS
really
2.0.
fun match. Yeah, that's basically what he is. Definitely go check out that match. Check out everything that Invictus is doing. They're doing some great fucking work, and it's an honor really to work with them. And I told the guy that I'm kind of connecting with through the Invictus that, like, really this is a dream come true, just to be able to work with a wrestling company, be behind the scenes, talk to all these guys. It's one big family. It's an amazing time.
Yeah, I love it, man. And, I can relate to that experience. We do the work with Barry Wrestling, and it's such a family there. It's wonderful to hear independent companies doing it right. You know what I mean? Invictus Pro Wrestling's doing it over in the New York area and the Ontario scene. Barry Wrestling's taking care of us. Independent wrestling is amazing. It's a great time. Get out there. Check out your local talent, guys. Like, these guys are the future. I always say it on the show. Daniel Garcia was a Barry Wrestling regular, and now he's teaming with Chris Jericho every week on AEW. You never know. I have pictures of myself eating hot dogs with Eric Young, like, from Independent Wrestling. Like, go check it out. You never know who you're going to see on your TV all of a sudden.
And another thing is, before we, go into some other topics, is on the topic of independent wrestling. Like, if you are a casual fan of wrestling and you don't know if you'll get into something like independent wrestling, I would go as far as to say that a lot of the independent wrestling that you see in your area alone is a lot more fun than the wrestling that you'll even see on national TV. I have 2 friends who are big WWE and AEW fans, and that's really all they would watch. But because I needed cameramen for this event that I'm doing, I got them into the independent wrestling. And when I tell you, like, so many of those matches, the first show that they had, they did like a 7-person ladder match. Fucking nuts. Get your friends, get your people that who are wrestling fans into independent wrestling too, and grow that community, because it goes such a long way. We've seen so much growth for Invictus Pro Wrestling just in the time that I've been there. Just seeing everyone grow as a fan base. It's so cool to see. It's so cool that you see these smaller companies get their dues and everything. It's phenomenal.
And if you're an independent promoter listening to this right now, send a message over to the answer over here.
The
new gimmick, and do some work with this guy, man. You do incredible work. If you guys ever checked out Classic Match Classroom, how highly I think personally of the work that you do, and it's even taken to the next level, which means that you're holding back on me a little bit, I think. But nah, man, your work is phenomenal. Go check it out. Tell the people where they can find it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, just cheap plug. You can, if you are an independent wrestling company or you want to get involved, want me to help you. I work with wrestlers, companies, whoever it may be. Whatever you need, you can find me at Instagram, Indie Epicenter, I believe I am, or am I Independent Epicenter? I think I'm Indie Epicenter on Instagram. You can find it in the description or whatever. Twitter as well. I'm
You have to
Indie.
teach me how to do a description before we can
just in the comments below, I'll put my my links. But yeah, peeling back the curtain a little bit, I don't charge anything. I do it for fun. Let's have some fun. If you're an indie company, let me work for you. Let's have some fun on it.
And if you do book through the Count It Out because of this episode, mention Count It Out. I take a 5% fee of nothing. So
yes, absolutely. And that's with the Canada money exchange.
That's it. So
it's
really nothing.
It's really nothing.
I heard the word money, and I think it's a great segue into.
Look at you. You are fucking phenomenal with the segues. That's what I miss the most.
I mean, I'm not bad. Every now and then I've been known to hit a segue.
Every now and then.
Our little conversation piece that we like to do every week. We're going to keep the tradition alive. I want to talk Money in the Bank. And I don't want to talk about the usual conversations. Oh, who should win Money in the Bank? Oh, best cash-ins. Oh, I want to talk about the state of the Money in the Bank briefcase and how I feel that it's kind of meaningless right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're making stars out of it. I'd have to go back. I know Big E was last year. That was kind of a flop, right? They had that great moment where he cashed in. It was a great moment, but that was about it. And the sad thing is, I can't remember who won the last few Money in the Banks. Nikki AS won one as well. Didn't really go anywhere. Why are we not making stars and moments out of Money in the Bank anymore? What's going on with the Money in the Bank briefcase?
Yeah, this is a tough one, really. I just feel like we're at a stage right now where Money in the Bank is kind of tough to book. I mean, just look at the champions that we've had recently. We've had guys like Roman, have guys like Brock. These are really champions that, for lack of a better term, can't lose with Money in the Bank. And I think that's a big thing for, having champions over an extended amount of time, is that if you build them up so much, you can't have them lose in a cheap win to, having the Money in the Bank. So it's kind of meaningless at the end of the day. I don't know why it's kind of devolved as much as it has. Money in the Bank used to be like one of those things where I would look forward to it it would keep me on the edge of my seat. Being a younger fan, you would always see the teases and everything, and it would be so exciting. I was there for Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank cash in.
Oh, wow.
One of the best moments I've ever been to a wrestling show in person. Just seeing that pop and, Ziggler getting his moment. And that's really what Money in the Bank should be all about. You're taking, someone who's maybe at this stage and you put them to that stage just in the blink of an eye, easily making a star. And it's done that for a lot of guys. It's done that for someone like Edge. It's done it for some, the list goes on. I can't think off the top of my head.
Seth Rollins had a great
Seth Rollins, right? All these guys. But I think in recent years, they've kind of just lost what they've been, the direction of it. You've given it to guys like Otis, you've given it to Baron Corbin, all these meaningless guys. If you're trying to make a star, you should have that Money in the Bank on them at all times. That's why I think this year, if they were going in that direction where they wanted to make, a future star with this Money in the Bank, you put that on Austin Theory, because now you at least have that going for a while, that, if for some reason, they can't take the title off of Roman in the next year, at least you have that Money in the Bank where you can cash it in and easily, put that momentum onto Austin Theory. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. But I mean, what are your thoughts on it with Money in the Bank?
I actually am 100% the opposite view of you on this one.
Oh, this is Hell in a Cell 97 all
that's
over.
That's it. And I can't wait to talk about one of the matches I think might be on your list there, because I got some fun for you later in the show. But here's my take on Money in the Bank. Number one, under no circumstances should Roman Reigns lose his championship on a cash
Absolutely
in
not.
after a match or anything.
Nope.
That title change has to be done in a normal match with Roman putting somebody over and making them a megastar. I think that it does more for a guy. Let's just use Austin Theory as an example, since you picked him. It does more for Austin Theory to beat Roman Reigns at whatever event, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, fucking Hell in a Cell, doesn't matter. For
Right.
him to beat him in a match will do much more for him than to cash in a Money in the Bank after a match or a beatdown or whatever and just totally kill everything that they're working towards with Roman.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you're kind of booked yourself in a corner. Do you put the Money in the Bank on a young guy and have Roman beat him and hurt the value of the briefcase anymore? I don't think so. I think that there's two options that they can go with this. I think the option that makes the most sense to me, you put the Money in the Bank briefcase on Drew McIntyre. And then you have Drew McIntyre say, I'm cashing this thing in overseas in my home country in the castle. What's that event called?
Clash at the Castle.
Clash at the Castle. That way, Drew McIntyre has earned a title shot. He's just not given one because he's Scottish. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to your hometown. Here's a title shot.
Here's
like,
a title shot.
I think that it should be like Drew, like setting his sights. I need to find a way to be in the title match in my country, right? Then, hey, if you want to put the belt on Drew there, that's a moment that will put him to another level that he just hasn't been able to get to, even as champion. Not that his work is bad, but like he got screwed in the Thunderdome era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't get that moment. And this moment is 3 years in the making now, right? I would not have a problem if they chose to put the belt on Drew over there using the Money in the Bank, but not cashing it in, but like setting the date, like kind of how RVD did, right?
Right.
The other option that I would like to see do is to use the Money in the Bank to set up an angle between two other superstars. So I'm going to use the example. I'm not saying this is what I would do, but I'm just going to use the example of RK Bro. You know, I would either put the briefcase on Riddle or Orton, doesn't matter which one. Whichever one you want to keep babyface, you put the briefcase on. And you have the other one be jealous. And when they go to do that cash in moment, you have that person cost them the briefcase or cost them the shot or feud over the briefcase. You know what I mean? I would turn Riddle heel in the situation personally. I think that there's a great promo with Randy Orton saying, you know, my history of being the Viper and I have turned on my fair share of partners. You were different. I liked you. You were my friend. And I'm hurt by this and I'm going to get you. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, Orton's a natural heel too. It would work. But you take that briefcase as the catalyst to set up a bigger feud. And I think it elevates the briefcase as well, right? That championship opportunity has destroyed a friendship. Doesn't have to be with RK Bro. You can do it with any two guys. I thought it was really fun when Seth Rollins had the briefcase and Dean Ambrose kept preventing him from cashing it in every time. Like stuff like that is fun. They need to find something to rejuvenate it. That is my two ways that I would go. The other way that I would go is just put it on an established star. Put it on Seth Rollins and let him hold it for a few months. Put it on maybe Damian Priest with Edge as his mouthpiece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let them hold it for a while, you know? And I don't know how the cashing goes. If you put it on an established star like Rollins, if he doesn't cash it in and win it, who gives a shit? He's over. It doesn't matter, right? You still protect Roman, and Rollins is good enough where he will elevate the briefcase again, right?
Yeah. So there are a few ways that I would go about it. The Austin Theory thing I kind of just mentioned as like if they wanted to build up another star. That's not how I think that they should go about it. I think Austin Theory winning could work out if they kind of if they really wanted to go all in on him. Like I think having Money in the Bank could work out for him.
Do you think though, sorry to cut you up, do you think that there's any young up and coming stars that are believable enough though to be in a world title position right now? Like to me, I love Theory. I just think it's too soon, right?
Yeah, Theory is really the only one that I could see if they wanted to go all in on a young guy. He's the only one that I could see because like this might be a hot take, but like I don't see much in Braun Breaker being that top guy.
Yeah, not right now at least.
No, I like, and that's for a few reasons. Like his in-ring work, I think is great, but like his promos, like a lot of that stuff, he doesn't really connect with me. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But like, yeah, I mean, if anyone, it could be Theory, but I kind of played around with the idea of if you wanted to do something over this summer, what would you how would you play about this? Because it really all comes down to like, what's Roman going to be doing over the summer, and we still have no idea. Like, everything with him taking time away, reduced schedule. He was even just taking off the Money in the Bank poster. Like all of that is still up in the air. So I feel like there's two ways that I would go about. I think it boils down to two people. One, I think is Cody. Cody's definitely up there to get the Money in the Bank. He was on the commercial. He was, the top face right now. You have him win Money in the Bank, and then at the Madison Square Garden show that they're going to be doing in, I believe it's July 26th, the Raw in Madison Square Garden, you can have him win the WWE title there, because then that kind of comes full circle with his first promo in WWE or his return there. Him talking about Dusty fighting for the title in Madison Square Garden, and he didn't get it because it was off of a count out. So there you could have Cody win the title in Madison Square Garden. That's a big victory for him. However, another kind of way that I was thinking about going, with this, if you wanted to tell some stories and kind of play out stuff for the summer, was to have Cody about to win Money in the Bank. He's like right there, and he's the favorite to win. Everyone thinks he's going to win. So I don't know if anyone has seen, like, I've been doing a lot of stuff on the Raw down for Turnbuckle Tavern. I forgot to plug them, but I'm obsessed with absolutely. I'm obsessed with Judgment Day. I think that is the best thing going on right now. I love everything that they're doing. It's phenomenal work. I would love to see a Cody versus Judgment Day feud throughout the summer, which leads to Cody versus Edge at SummerSlam. So you could have Cody about to win Money in the Bank. All of a sudden lights turn off. Judgment Day cost him Money in the Bank, which leads to Seth winning, because I think that could be a fun dynamic to have Roman versus Cody for, let's say, the WWE title or the Universal title. It keeps Cody away from the world title picture right now, which I don't think he needs to be in the title picture right now. Whereas eventually you can get to Roman and Cody, and you have Seth as the Money in the Bank to be that kind of, outlier like he was in 2015, which I think he does. And Seth with the Money in the Bank could be phenomenal. Even with the work that he's doing now, his character just fits perfectly for that. Yeah. So I think Money in the Bank is going to be interesting this year. I think you have a few ways that you can go about it, which kind of leads back to the interest kind of favoring Money in the Bank for the first time in a while. I feel like this is the first year that we can actually say, depending on who is in that match, there are definitely a few favorites that, you can have a lot of great scenarios with it, but you could also have a lot of shitty scenarios with it. They just have to be careful with it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I really like that idea, by the way, Cody and Edge. I'd love to see that at SummerSlam.
It's fun. It's really fun.
And
just give something for Cody that doesn't involve the title for now.
It's too soon. I agree. Look what they did. And I'll use AEW as an example. They kept Punk out of the title picture for almost a full year. I still think they could have waited a couple more months for it. But as the time that this airs, that pay-per-view has already happened, and we may or may not have a new AEW World Champion. Who knows? But I think that's good, man. I enjoyed that. I like your take on a lot of that stuff. But now I can't get Cody and Edge out of my head, so it better happen, or else I'm gonna freak out. It better happen, man. You got anything else? One more thing I wanted to. This is on the topic of Money in the Bank, but we just got the news that they went from Allegiant Stadium to the MGM Grand. We go from a whole football stadium to I think they only seat like a few, I want to say 18,000 people in that. MGM Grand's pretty good size.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that? I mean, I didn't know how they would fill a stadium for Money in the Bank. I guess they were trying to make a big 5 instead of a big 4, but I didn't see it happening, especially without Roman. There was no way.
I mean, to me, there's only three named pay-per-views that will draw a stadium, and that's Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. And even SummerSlam, I think you're kind of you got to put stuff around SummerSlam, like Starrcast weekend. Like, I don't think SummerSlam's a big enough draw to fill a stadium. I thought when I heard Money in the Bank was in a stadium, I thought they were out of their minds. I was just like, yeah. And I'm not surprised. CM Punk put out a pretty funny backhanded Instagram or tweet, or I don't know what it was, but the last time that happened was at WrestleMania 7 with Slaughter and Hogan. They were supposed to do the LA Coliseum and they claimed a bomb threat. And Punk just put a picture of that program on his Instagram and put, what happened, another bomb threat. Which, yeah, whatever. Punk doesn't need to be taking those shots, but it was pretty.
But it's funny when he
funny.
does every now and then.
Yeah, I don't like the shots, but I mean, I got to tip my hat to a good burn when there's a good burn, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah. When I heard that they were trying to do the stadium, I wouldn't be surprised if in that time when they were, planning for the stadium, that they just wanted to keep doing stadium shows, for Money in the Bank and fucking all these shows. They do them for the crown jewels and all the stuff in Saudi Arabia. So I guess they figured, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're completely right. Like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble for certain, SummerSlam, you need a good card. Survivor Series definitely can't, I would rather them just, this might be controversial, but just get rid of Survivor Series and put in like a War Games or something, like something different, the King of the Ring, anything, because Survivor Series has really just lost its momentum.
I love Survivor Series because like I just love those traditional tag matches, but they all suck now. Like they've not been good. I just like the traditionalist in me doesn't want to see it go, but I do like the War Games idea. If I never saw another King of the Ring tournament, I'd be okay with that. I just think King of the Ring has run its course in 2022. Like, it's very hokey. You know what I mean? Like,
well, even something like Money in the Bank. Like, I think it gets to a point where you've done so much that you can with that stipulation. How far can you go? Yeah, I always draw it back to like, Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble. Like, how many of those spots can you do?
Yep.
Like you even look at it like the when we were doing the classroom for Razor versus Shawn, like a lot of those stuff that you saw in that ladder match, they're still doing today because there's only so many things that you could do with a ladder before you start making all these ladder contraptions and all that shit. So I don't know. Hopefully we get to a point where they can start becoming a little bit more original with their pay-per-view concepts. I think the idea of Survivor Series and having your big four is great if you know how to do it. Make some compelling 5-on-5, 4-on-4 stories. But if you're just going to do fucking Raw versus SmackDown, like just call it bragging rights at that point.
Yeah. Raw, like the brand extension, it sucks. Like, it's not a brand extension. Everybody's all over the place. Like it doesn't mean anything. So just give me the integrated matches again. I don't give a shit. Just give me a good 5-on-5 tag match. Let them go for 45 minutes and boom. Just like they did in Toronto, the first Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series, when it was like Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, and Ambrose, when they fought like Roman, Owens, Seth, can't remember, Jericho. Like that was an awesome match.
Fucking great match.
That was a great match. That's the last great Survivor Series match. And
absolutely.
I need to see that again. There's a way to save Survivor Series, and what they're doing is not it.
Absolutely. I wonder what they're going to do with Roman and the Usos having both of those titles now, if they're going to do it Raw versus SmackDown.
I mean,
even considered that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. Maybe we just drop the Raw versus SmackDown concept, because I think they should unify the I think they got to unify the US and IC title next. Too many belts.
Yeah.
And if they didn't bring back the women's tag team titles, unpopular opinion maybe, but I wouldn't care. There's no women tag.
There's no reason to care.
There's no women tag teams. Like the Iconics and the Riot Squad were the only legitimate tag teams that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll even give Bailey and Sasha, because they were together for a long time. Yeah, they did some
good stuff with those.
Right. Times. But like women are so much more singles wrestlers than going out and being a tag team. So you get, and I know that the Raw and the SmackDown tag titles, 90% of them are throw together tag teams as well. And it drives me nuts, but I'm a tag team guy. Give me some fucking tag teams.
It's about time.
God, fired up now.
Yeah, but that's all I have. I just wanted to bring up that Money in the Bank thing, but we had a good conversation here, kind of devolved into different paths as we usually do.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. And that's pure counted out style too. That's not just, maybe that's just a trait of mine. I can't stay focused.
I love it.
Let's see if I can bring it back around then. We got a list to do here. We got the top 7 Hell in a Cell matches from the year 2010 and onward. correct?
Yes. Yep.
So kind of tell me a little bit about the thought process behind the list, the criteria, what we're looking for here, and we'll kind of jump into your number 7 when you're ready.
Yeah. So when it came down to the criteria, there were really only 2 things that I considered. One was creativity, and 2 was drama.
Okay.
And I think you can implement those 2 qualities a lot in Hell in a Cell, but you have to do it correctly, because as you'll see in this list, there are some that go over the top with one thing and are not much on the other, and it didn't really work out. I did go back and I watched a few of the Hell in a Cell matches. There were a few that I knew were going to be in there, but selfishly rewatched them anyways because they're phenomenal matches. I was actually surprised. There were a lot of really good matches in here that you don't really think about at first, but you're like, yeah, that could probably be up there on some of the better matches in the last decade or so. So yeah, like I said, those were the really only 2 things. And of course, if it's a good match, it's, I'll consider it. But if you're creative with the spots in the Hell in a Cell, and if you have that good, level of drama. So yeah, like I said, we're going from around 2010 to modern day. And I'll go right into it. I'll start with my number 7 here.
I do have to put a disclaimer up before you get your number 7 that
okay.
Anthony also did not like Hell in a Cell 97 between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. So
that is very important to mention.
We might have to take his list with a grain of salt here. We'll see how you do here. But I can never. Mike was probably yelling at his computer screen for me to bury you about that. And
I know. I already know. I knew once we decided that we were going to do a Hell in a Cell list, I was like, this is perfect. Haven't done a classroom in a while. First thing we do, let's talk about some Hell in a Cell matches. Oh my God. I love it. Let's go right into number 7 though. This one is a more recent one. I thought I was going to put this one a little higher, but I ended up keeping it a little lower. I went with number 7. I went with Roman versus Jey Uso at Hell in a Cell 2020. When you talk about drama in Hell in a Cell, this definitely has it. I think what kind of lowers this match for me is the fact that I'm much more of a fan of their match that they had at Clash of Champions. I think that is a phenomenal showcase of what they were able to do in that Thunderdome era. I've always said that I think Roman's best work was during that, right when he returned at I want to say around like SummerSlam that time to WrestleMania 37 with Edge and Daniel Bryan. That little era of Roman was his best work, hands down. And I think his matches with Jey were a really great example of that. Like I said, I prefer the Clash of Champions match a little bit more because I think it was more personal. But, Hell in a Cell, you get a lot of great spots here. You have the inclusion of Jimmy, which adds a different layer. Really putting out all the stops from all these guys with the emotion involved. And overall, it was just a really solid match. I didn't want to put it too high because also I don't feel as if it's that memorable. Even though it was a great feud, I think it was one of the more underrated feuds that we've seen in the last few years. So I kind of put it at number 7.
I like Roman had a great line in this match when he's I think he was holding the stairs and he was like, my kids are going to see this or something like that. And I thought that was really powerful. This was definitely a better storytelling than a match for sure. I thought as a match, it was kind of draggy a little bit because it was, but the story that they were telling made sense for it to drag. It was just Roman beating respect into Jey. I also love the end of the match. I thought the finish was great. I love that Roman had the blessing from Appa and Sika and the passing of the guard of the head of the table.
So good.
I thought that was incredible as well. So I don't have a problem with this being on your list. I think if it is on your list, number 7 is the way to put it. We'll see what is not on your list and what is on your list as we go here. But not a bad start. I would place this at the 7th spot if it were to be on my list as well.
I got a few honorable mentions. I didn't really put that much effort into the honorable mentions as much as I did the 7 because I knew that there were about 7 matches that I knew were going to be there, but it just came down to the ordering. And for number 6, this is where I started this might be a little bit, controversial of an ordering. So this one, I went with Hell in a Cell 2015 Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar
Okay,
for my number 6.
that's a good match.
This is one of the matches that I went and rewatched because I knew it happened, but I didn't feel like I remembered it as deeply as I thought I did. Definitely a brutal match. I will put it to you like that. It's like we're 2 minutes in and Brock's already bleeding. Great, a lot of great blood here, I will say. Get a lot of really good visuals. Brock ripping up the ring. I think that was the first that you have seen of like in the modern era, someone ripping up the ring, looking at the floorboards. Did I underrate this match a little bit? Maybe, but there were just a lot of parts in this match that I thought it was like, I'm getting back to my classroom days here, that it's like, too slow, too sloppy, there there was one part in particular that I knew I was going to put this match low, that I just see, Brock has a chair and he goes to whack Taker on the head. And he just like hits his hands like clear as day, just whacks his hands. And the commentary tried to like play it off like, oh, he blocked it. He blocked the shot and everything.
It's like, why even swing for the head at this day and age? You know what I mean? Hit him in the back. Hit him in the back, like yeah, we don't need to see headshots in wrestling with chairs anymore.
It's ridiculous. But I will say the ending with the tombstone on the floorboards and Brock doing the the F5 and everything. I thought it ended strong. I think it started strong, but like in that middle, I don't know. I think it was just a little bit too much and also not enough, if that makes sense.
I like how they got to the Hell in a Cell match as well. You go back to the streak ending at WrestleMania, and then when Taker made his return and cost Brock the title at I want to say it wasn't SummerSlam. It was the night, the pay-per-view before SummerSlam.
Yeah, the Battleground
or whatever it was, right? And I just like his reasoning behind it. I'm okay that you ended the streak, but Heyman won't stop talking about it, and now I'm pissed. They had the good SummerSlam match where Taker cheated to beat him, so you got your payoff here, right?
I preferred that match honestly over the Hell in a Cell. They had a really good feud here. Not a lot of people talk
very
about this.
very underrated feud, and it's kind of Taker's like last big hurrah as far as being a main event player, and still going in the ring. He had a couple bad showings after this, but I thought Taker brought it. I thought Brock and Taker were awesome. The Hell in a Cell match was brutal, and it was in the cage for a reason, which is bonus points for me, because I hate when they just, it's October. Okay, let's put insert champion versus their first challenge. Bray Wyatt and
Sheamus
Seth Rollins.
and Randy Orton.
Sheamus and Randy Orton. Yeah, I hate that shit, man. Make it mean something. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with this being on the list either, and I think you got it placed pretty well.
I also love the I know it led to really nothing, but the post match with the Wyatt family coming out and attacking Undertaker. Thought that was just a really great moment. Didn't lead to anything, obviously. We had
they had the tag Undertaker match next month, right?
Yeah, the 25-year anniversary of the Undertaker with the brothers. It was fucking stupid. I was hoping for a little bit more. But no, it was a cool moment, cool visual. Just a decent match overall. I put it at number 6.
Yeah.
Number 5, I went with Edge versus Rollins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure where I was going to put this one. I like the match a lot. I think it was a little bit too long. All of Edge's matches ever since he's come back have been fucking hour-long matches. Like, can we get a 10-minute or something?
You're back to your prodigy. You're young and your attention span. Come on.
It was only a matter of time. They did a lot. They did a really. I think this was more of, I wanted to put this match higher, but there were just some matches that I couldn't justify not putting in that top 4 region. Edge and Rollins, maybe it's because I didn't go back and watch the entirety of this match. I watched a little bit of it. I think they had some really good spots. This was another example of a match that, there was a reason for it being in Hell in a Cell. I think they had the best story, at least in WWE, within 2021. Everything from the Madison Square Garden show to SummerSlam and everything that they did there. I think you needed to have this match in Hell in a Cell. You bring out the weapons, you have the ladder, the chain, the chair. This was around that time that Edge was doing the little bar on the chair that he would rip off and choke him out with, which was really cool. Great match. Like I said, I wanted to put it higher, but I think there were just some other matches that definitely warrant being higher up on the list.
Fair. For me, this is a top 3 for me.
Okay.
I think so. I just love the storytelling in this match. I like the slower, methodical pace.
Yeah.
Because I think that they make everything mean something, and they give things time to breathe, which is nice. It's not just like, oh, you just did 7 flips through a table and a Canadian destroyer off the top rope, and oh my god, you're back up before the 10 count. This is incredible. Like, I like seeing guys like, holy fuck, I'm beat up. Like, I need to sell this. Like, and it gives the crowd a chance to kind of hype them up a little bit. So yeah, I think for me, this is a top 3. I gotta kind of take it over a little bit more. We'll see what you got in your next spot here.
I could definitely see like this being in the top 3, even top 2, really. I think it could definitely be up there. Hot crowd too. Like, that's the one thing, whenever they go to Saudi Arabia, I know there's the whole controversy around it, but they have some crowds there that really just love what they see. They're always popping for everything. So that definitely added to it. Let me get into number 4 here. This might come as a surprise, but this is the only women's match that I have in my top 7. I'm going with Bayley and Sasha Banks from Hell in a Cell 2020.
I was hoping you'd put this on.
Okay. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I mean, it really came down to, I was only going to put one of like the women's Hell in a Cell matches, and I wanted to put the one that really drew the most interest out of me. I think the story leading up to this was also really great. Bayley and Sasha, Bayley doing the heel turn on Sasha. You even had a lot of people were thinking about whether this should be at Hell in a Cell, if they were rushing it, or if they should have put it at WrestleMania. I think looking back in hindsight, this was the perfect place to have it, because you want this match to be in Hell in a Cell. They were even hyping it up on commentary, like, Sasha's had to sit with the loss to Bayley at the takeover events. So, she wants her revenge here. And I think that's a great story to be told. And then you get to the match, and I think this is where the creativity kind of takes a bump in a good direction. They were able to do a lot of creative spots here. A lot of, it seemed choreographed at times, which I don't love, but like they were able to nail it for the most part. I took points off. This was originally going to be like number 3, possibly even number 2, but like there were some parts that I just couldn't, like, Bayley setting up the kendo stick contraption that kind of just failed. I couldn't justify putting it that much higher. I think the ending also definitely knocks it up a little bit for me. The chair bank statement with Sasha just kicking it, that looked phenomenal.
That was awesome.
Even her doing it after the bell, and just the look on Sasha's face, like that really adds a lot of emotion to it. And like I said, those were my 2 critiques for it. If you have good creativity with the spots that you do and the weapons, and if you have good, emotion to add on to that, there's an even balance, you're going to get a good grade for me. Even spots like the when Sasha, or was it, I can't remember if it was Bayley, kind of did that sunset flip, power bomb
into the cage. Sasha did it.
Into the chair too. They had the chair wedged in, and
yes,
Sasha's head bang right on the chair. That looked brutal.
And Sasha did it to Bayley on the cage as well, which I thought was
that's true. I think Sasha even went right through some kendo sticks that were like wedged in between the cage and the steel steps. So like I said, a lot of creativity here, and I think it nailed really well. It looked brutal. It's just those little parts in between that I couldn't look past.
We're gonna have a run-in from Max the dog here, but that's okay. I think it's hilarious that you put this match on your list, though, because these guys spent more time on the outside of the ring than Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker did in 1997.
Here we go.
That's the first thing I thought of when I was watching.
But here's the thing
today.
That's great, but at least they made it interesting when they were outside the ring.
Did they though? The kendo stick.
Undertaker throws him into the cell face first for the 50th time.
I did like that. I thought Sasha's what's that move called where she does the knees to the face when she ran up the table? Meteora. I thought all of her meteors looked really good here.
Yeah.
I love the finish of this match. I love the placement on this number 4. I think is perfect for it on the list. I hate that I'm agreeing with so much of your list here, because
I know
it makes
we're about to disagree in a minute, but
because I'm looking at like what I've got left here and what you've got left, and we'll see where they line up here. I think there's a couple matches for sure that I don't know what you're gonna have here, but keep her going, man. So far, so
Yeah.
good.
Well, this is where we're going to disagree, unfortunately, but I had to put this match here selfishly because I fucking love this match. It's a Hell in a Cell match that doesn't get talked about enough, whereas I think it should. But I don't know. People just don't really discuss this match, like this match. I'm going with Hell in a Cell 2018, Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton at my number 3.
I would have had this at your number 4 and Bailey and Sasha here, but this match was great.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
surprised that you actually are going with this one here.
Because it's the storytelling. The only thing that I didn't like about this match, but they made up for it by the insane bump, was how long it took Jeff Hardy to get up to the cell and like stuff like that. If you listen to like our Young Bucks conversation last week, I don't like having to suspend my beliefs that long. You know what I mean? Like there's certain spots that just take too long to do. But my God, when he went crashing through that table, like it made us like, okay, like, yeah, that was pretty awesome. The screwdriver spot in this match was sickening. Like
that's the main reason I put this in here.
Yeah, that's what I remember about this match too. But I remember watching this match, and I wasn't watching, and I still don't watch a lot of WWE. I just don't have time. But I remember watching this match and being like, shit, man, like WWE is doing some good stuff here.
Yeah, it was this match I definitely wanted to rewatch because I knew I wanted to put this on the list, but I didn't know where I was going to put it. And I didn't want to put it too high just because I'm a Jeff Hardy fan, and I didn't want to put it too low just because, that's the status quo. But I really just watched this match, and I can honestly say this was the only match out of all of them that I had the most times where my face just went like I was like, fuck. Like we said, the screwdriver spot was just insane. The crowd pop, like the loudest moment from the crowd was that screwdriver. Of course, they've done it a few times after that. Like they did it at the ladder match with Sami Zayn, where he kind of like handcuffed him by his ear, which was fine, but you don't want to do that spot too often because it was really brutal. Yeah, I mean, like we said, like the ending with the ladder and everything, like, and he was swinging a bit too much. Like I was waiting a little too long, but the aftermath with that, with them raising the cage, like Randy still wanted to get the pin, like all of that was really, really good stuff. There were some other spots that I can't even remember off the top of my head right now, but I know that they really just look brutal. I think that's where this is my first match where and I think this will go for all three of 3, 2, and 1, is that this is the first match where you'll see the creativity mixes with the drama perfectly.
Yeah, and you look at the guys in the ring there, right? That sums it up. Jeff Hardy's one of the most creative guys of all time, and Randy Orton is one of the most sadistic and like methodical guys of all time, right? That's a dangerous blend that those guys always found the balance of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to put it. And I'm pretty sure this was Jeff's first and only Hell in a Cell match, which is pretty impressive. Like this is the only match that he has in Hell in a Cell. And, he was able to throw so much into it. You got your ladders and you got your tables and, a lot of other weapons, fucking screwdrivers. Like they really went all out here. And I really had to give this match its props and put it in my top 3.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't put in my top 3. I think I put Edge and Rollins and Sasha and Bailey over it, but it needs to be on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'd have it at my number 5 spot. I think I would have maybe swapped that with Edge and Rollins so far.
Yeah, I see that.
But I can't disagree with a lot of your list. I'm interested to see your top 2 because there might be one match that I would bump your Taker one for, but we'll get there when we get there.
All right, cool. So number 2. This was a match that I originally was not planning to have either very high on the list or just on the list at all. I thought it was a match that was very overrated. But then I was like, okay, if I'm going to put this match on my list, I need to go back and I need to watch it. I thought it was hokey at first and I had to check out again. And when I watched it on the second time around, I was like, fuck, how did I underrate this? I'm going Usos and New Day, Hell in a Cell 2017.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't love the opening parts. I think that's kind of what took me out of it originally. Is I remember like the when they bring out the instruments and everyone gets a weapon and then they just don't use the weapons and they just fight each other. Like I was kind of taken out by that part of it. And I didn't remember you remember like the hokey spots, like when they put him up against the cage and they do the kendo sticks and they trap him in there. I kind of remembered that and I was like, all right, maybe I'll give this like a 5 or a 6. But then like you really go back and you watch like what they did, with the weapons, with the kendo sticks, how brutal the shots were. Big E doing his spears from the ring to the outside, which makes me like cringe every time I watch him do that, especially in the cage. I think one of the Usos even pulled out one of those moves, which looked really good too. I was also surprised by the winner. I thought the New Day won this entire time, but apparently it was the Usos. I had no recollection of that at all. So that at least was a good surprise. I mean, it surprised me a lot to the point where it was like, fuck, I can't even justify putting this like at a 4 or a 3. Like, this really, you take in, maybe they went too creative. Maybe, you didn't need a cowbell and a gong in Hell in a Cell, but looking back on it, like you need that stuff for the New Day because they're the fun team and everything. So it made sense at least. But once you get into that, like, after the 25% way mark of that match, and it was a pretty short match, like it was only around 20 minutes. Like a lot of these matches go on to like 30 minutes tops. But this match, at least, after that 25-minute mark, 5 minutes in, you get really brutal stuff. Looked great. Guys were selling off. Like Xavier Woods, this was really a star-making performance for him specifically.
I agree.
Just from the way he was able to sell, he was able to show that passion, the fire. Even Big E looked really great in this match too, but I think this was really a star-making performance for Woods. And I couldn't justify putting this match anywhere other than number 2.
I agree with this 100%. And I got to tip my cap to a friend of the show, Steve Bourne, who put me onto this match a couple of years ago. He did a top 7 Hell in a Cell matches of all time. And this ranked really high on his list. And I was like, okay, I got to check this out. And yeah, man, these are 2 of the best tag teams in the current WWE. And like you said, with Woods, especially, Woods was always in the back seat. It was always Kofi and E in the title matches. And Woods stepped up. And this kind of made me look at him in a different light as well. The Usos and the New Day, they're like the modern day Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express rivalry. They fought so many times. They were always so good together. And this was, I think, one of their best matches that they ever had.
Yeah, I was a little nervous at first because I remember watching this match originally and like I didn't remember most of it, but I remember my initial thoughts going into the match was like, they're doing Woods and Big E. Like I've always been I've always been like a Kofi guy. So I was like, fuck, why don't you just put Big E and Kofi? Like it's a tag team match, like, blow off for the feud, just put them in the ring. But Woods definitely surprised me here. You always look at these matches where it's like star making performances and then you wonder like why they're not doing more with these guys. Like, you give them King of the Ring, great. But the fact
how many
that
years
Woods
later though, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like you never, like I never understood why they at least didn't give him like a mid-card title. Woods.
Yeah,
like
he'd be a great IC
ridiculous.
champion.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
They even took his crown away for God's sakes. Like now he's just Xavier.
I mean, Woods is the only guy that I think the King of the Ring gimmick works for right now because like he's like that kooky guy and like to me like being a king is like so 80s. Like the King gimmick was great in the 80s and even the early 90s maybe, but it just doesn't fit on my TV screen anymore. Like if I see you come out with this stupid crown and like I'm like, nah, I'm not feeling it. At least Corbin tried to be different. You know what I mean? He had like a different crown. It wasn't the hokey one. I was like, okay, that's fine. But
led to a good story, at least. Everything him and Nakamura, I thought was
absolutely
fantastic.
Absolutely. To me, I think there is a clear number 1. I think there's always been. Let's see if you've got this number 1.
My number 1 is Seth Rollins versus The Fiend at Hell in a Cell 29.
All right. It's thank you, folks. This is the first ever unaired edition of Count It Out.
We won't even post the fucking episode. No,
that's it. You're out. You're gonna be. There's gonna be 2 words that are banned from Count It Out now: retribution and Anthony.
Oh my God. Yeah. What else could it be? It's Undertaker and Triple H, Hell in
Yeah.
a Cell. Another match that I hadn't rewatched since when I originally watched it. Undertaker and Triple H for me set the criteria of you need creativity and you need the drama. I don't understand how you can't rank this match 5 stars, because I get, maybe you can make the argument it's a little bit too dramatic with all the talking, like, let me ring the bell. Just let me ring the bell. Don't ring the bell. Don't do it. I understand that it could be a little bit too performative, but it just works here so well. Like Triple H hitting Undertaker with the chair so many fucking times. That looked brutal.
Yep.
I also picked up on there's 2 ways that you can watch this match. And if you or any of the listeners haven't done this before, you can either A, watch it just Undertaker and Triple H, or number 2, just watch Shawn Michaels the entire match. That gives you a whole nother outlook on the match, because I think this is one of the greatest special guest referee performances, possibly the best referee performance period in a wrestling match, because he's subtle. He doesn't get in the way of the match. He comes in when he needs to.
Yep.
But if you were to focus on him the entire time, it adds another layer to the match. We always talk about, the referees in AEW, like Aubrey Edwards, or, people who kind of take up too much of the spotlight, oversell things, or even referees in WWE who just stand there and do nothing. I think this is the perfect balance, because referees can have character at the end of the day. They can be involved in the story to an extent. But, when you're too much in, taking away from the spotlight, or you're just doing nothing, there's to the point where there's no point.
Yep.
I think Shawn does this phenomenally here. And like I said, go and just watch Shawn. Like that really gives you a new outlook on, watching this match. But I mean, the match itself speaks for itself. Like there's so many, everyone has said so much about it. The Triple H near fall with, the pedigree into the, the Street True Music into the pedigree. That was an all-time near fall. Even he does another pedigree afterwards, which I thought was an even closer near fall, just because that was really like, eye-catching. Taker even nails a tombstone, which I thought was going to be, the end of the match, because again, I didn't remember it, but really just overall really good near falls. I actually recently watched their WrestleMania 27 match, which also I feel like also doesn't really get talked about enough compared to this one. Both matches phenomenal. But yeah, I just think this was the perfect way to implement all aspects of what a Hell in a Cell match truly should be. And they nailed it perfectly. They called it end of an era for some reason, even though we had another Undertaker versus Triple H match in Australia, no less. And Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for God knows whatever reason. We don't talk about that here. But yeah, this was, how could you not put this number 1?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The storytelling is everything. Sean's facial expressions, especially after that near fall when he's in the corner, like almost crying, like the build to this match is incredible. Just, yeah, these are possibly the 2 greatest Hell in a Cell performers of all time, showing what this match should be. The only thing that I think this match is missing, and it's no fault of their own, is a little bit of blood. I think really would have
right. That's true.
Really would have brought that to the next level. But yeah, this was like, as soon as you told me that this was your list, I was like, okay, well, I know number 1. Let's see what the rest of it's going to be. But number 1, I find, is always one of the easiest ones to do when you're making a list. It's number 7 that's the hardest.
Totally. No, that's why your concept is so good, because it's like, you need the middle ground between the top 1, and even you can't do top 10, because I feel like top 10s are easier than top 7s.
100%.
Like, to kind of narrow out those little other ones.
The conversation we had when we were sitting at the bar, Mike and I, talking about the concept of Count It Out, it came together really quick. It was one conversation. We got the name really quick because we decided we want to do a countdown show, and we were like, Mike was like, okay, let's do a top 10. I said, no, 7. And he's like, what? It's like, what do you mean 7? I go, 10's too easy, and 5's not enough to have a good debate. 7 makes you work.
That's good. That's a really good reason. No one's doing 7.
No one's doing 7.
No one's doing sevens, changing the game a little bit. I will say, last thing I'll say on this match, there are just the little things in this match too. Like I always mention on Classroom, like those little pieces of story really add a lot to the overall match. Even little moves like when I think Taker and Triple H are on the outside and the camera's really close up on them and Sean's kind of peeking out to see what's going on with Triple H, and Taker just fucking no sells him and just pushes him off to the side.
Yeah.
That was really good. Just the even the spine buster, the sequence of the spine buster onto the steel steps, which led to the Hell's Gate, which led to something else. I think a power bomb or something. There's not much. This is the best Hell in a Cell match that includes The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I will put it to you.
I was
like
waiting
that.
for you to say that.
I was waiting. I was waiting
for
had
you to say that line. Well, if I can take a page out of the classic match classroom, I am going to grade your list a B to B plus.
All right, solid B to B plus.
You had every match that I was looking at on there except for one.
Ooh,
my order would have been a lot different than yours. But
right.
Maybe not a lot different, but it would have been different.
Yeah, I think we agreed on most.
The one match that I would have put on, I think I would have taken off your Roman and Uso one for Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I was thinking of that one. I
really liked their Hell in a Cell match. I thought it was really, really good. And the only other match that I would kind of consider, but the finish took it out for me, if it's the finish I'm thinking of, was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
That's the Bray Wyatt one.
That was the Bray
the ghost.
Yeah. So that finish is what would keep it off my list. But I thought the rest of that match was really, really good.
Yeah, I kept that one off the list just because of the finish. I could not look past that finish whatsoever.
Me too. But I do think the work they put in before that finish was really, really good and just worth tipping your cap to a little bit. Yeah, I would have definitely changed the order a little bit. I would have had Edge and Seth in my top three. Fair. I would have kept your 1 and 2 the same, and I would have. I think that's really the only two differences I would make. To be honest, I think you did a pretty good job. And I hate saying that because I like to argue on this show. Ask Mike. The saying "shut the fuck up, Tyler" is redundant on our show because I like. It's gotta
be a T-shirt.
Pro Wrestling Tees /countdown7.com.
There you go. Plug it.
That's it.
Yeah, for honorable mentions, you mentioned it already. Just the Becky and Sasha one. I think I have to go back and rewatch that one just to really see like if I would put it there. I kind of just figured like between all the women's matches that they have, what has been the best one. And I think the Bayley and Sasha hands down was at least the one that I think the criteria came down to which one stuck with me the most, because I've seen all of them, but like when you look at them like. Banks and Charlotte sucked. I'm sorry, I can't go through that match.
It wasn't the greatest.
It wasn't great. Becky and Sasha, I remember being good, but I just can't remember much of what happened in it. Maybe that's just because I haven't seen it in a while. Bayley and Sasha is really the only one that really stuck with me. And then did Bianca and Bayley
had one, but I didn't watch that. I've never seen that match. So
yeah, I've never. I don't even remember the matches that they had last year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They just throw matches in the cell for the sake of throwing. Even like Seth and Cody, like at least it's their third match. I still don't think it's cell worthy. Like I think
it's not worth doing
it. It should be blood feuds coming to an end. Although they did that great commercial. I don't know if you've seen it with. Dusty Rhodes voiceovering and like inputting the Seth and I'll send you the link to it. It's really, really
send me
good.
The link to that.
It's really
Speaking
of
commercials, did you see that they pulled the Cody commercial for Money in the Bank? I originally thought it was because they he originally said, not to get off topic, but he originally said in the commercial that the winner gets the chance to main event WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I thought that was the reason why they pulled the commercial, because I haven't seen it in the last few weeks, was because, he messed up the line. But I mean, now, obviously, I guess it's because they're not fucking running Allegiant Stadium anymore. You mentioned commercials and Cody and that kind of came up. But I mean, as far as the other honorable mentions, like, you mentioned Banks and Becky. Yeah. Couldn't think of her name. Yeah. I like I said, Seth and Dean, I was thinking about throwing in there, but the end just kind of
Yeah,
couldn't put it past me.
Same thing with Brian and Randy too, with the Shawn Michaels super kick finish. That kind of took me out of
Right.
their match.
Yeah, there was just that period from like 2011 to 20 to fucking 14
15,
that all
16,
the
yeah.
Hell in a Cell was just meant, like they put Mark Henry and Randy Orton in the cell, like
Yep.
so many just dumb matches that they didn't need to have. I want to go back, and I know I'm not going to put this in my honorable mentions, but I want to go back and I want to rewatch Seth and The Fiend, just because.
Yeah, what you looking to torture yourself?
No, I mean, because I know the finish sucks. Like that goes without saying.
The only thing worse than Seth and the Fiend is Mike's top 7 Canadian pay-per-views of all time list that we did on the show.
What did he
Mike.
put number 1? I don't think I caught that one.
It doesn't matter what he put. I don't remember any of it. I just remember that he did not put Unforgiven 06 on his list, which is like one of the best pay-per-views ever. So,
oh my God.
I always have to make fun of Mike about that.
No, I want to go back and rewatch that match because for the most part, I remember it being a quote unquote fun match with like the Fiend selling and stuff, but it was just, there's no reason why they should have done that match. The ending sucked.
It's one of the worst matches ever.
It's
awful. It's awful. Like there's no fun. Like he pulled out the giant sledgehammer and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like, yeah, no.
Oh, but that was phenomenal. The giant sledgehammer. You
that
kidding
good
me?
Shit.
Good shit, pal.
I'm gonna tell you, it's no White Castle strap match.
Oh boy, don't get me started on the strap match, man. I still think it's hilarious that match ended with a normal sledgehammer and fucking Wyatt brings out this big sledgehammer.
Yeah, that match
topic for another day.
Awful. It was absolutely awful.
I gotta rewatch it though.
Before we start wrapping it up, one quick question for you, and then I want you to plug everything. I'm putting you on the spot. Who is going to win Money in the Bank this year?
Who is going to win Money in the Bank this year? It's a tough question because even though we're pretty close to it, we're still very far out as far as just WWE's plans. Like fucking, I don't even know who's going to win the Hell in a Cell matches, let alone the Money in the Bank matches. But I will say, I think I'm going to go with Cody for now as just a safe pick.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that you can do with Cody with Money in the Bank. Does he need Money in the Bank? No. But I see them going in the route of, having him like cash it in like RVD or like Cena where he sets his date. And I would like to see him do that Money in that at Madison Square Garden cash in because it fits. It makes sense. If not now, then in the future. I think whenever he wins the title,
would be a good spot. That would be a good spot to do your Judgment Day run-in.
That would be a good
spot. They took away the moment I was dedicating to my dad.
Well, I was even thinking like if you put the Money in the Bank on Seth, then you have Cody win the title, however, versus Roman at Madison Square Garden, then just have Seth cash in afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something powerful about taking away that moment for his dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think costing him, like not even letting him have the title, the title's within his reach and boom, somebody snatched it. Then you got a blood feud for the summer.
You got a heel turn too, possibly.
I love it. I'm going Drew McIntyre, by the way. Drew McIntyre.
Drew's a good
pick. I think
Drew's a very good pick.
I think that gets him to the Castle pay-per-view in the UK, and then we go from there.
Do you think he loses the belt to Drew?
It depends on how much time they want to have him take off, right? I don't think anybody else would make sense, like would benefit from beating him right now other than Drew in that moment. Like that's a star-making moment.
I'd rather have Drew win the title than Cody at this point.
Yeah, I think it's too soon for Cody to be anywhere near, give him that match in Madison Square Garden. I'm okay with that. But totally. That's all I want to see. And then, you can build to a rematch down the line in WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit the people up with it. The Count It Out and the Epicenter are won today, but let everyone know one more time.
Yes, you can go ahead and follow me. I have my Instagram here, so I know what I'm talking about. It is Indie Epicenter. That's INDIEEPICENTER. I hope I spelled that right. It's off the top of my head. I post whenever I'm putting up a new video. Same on Twitter, same Indie Epicenter. My videos, I don't have a YouTube channel yet. but my videos are usually posted by the companies I work with. You can follow Invictus Pro Wrestling on YouTube and all their social medias to see whenever a new video comes out. Speaking of which, I just had a new video that came out by the time that this video comes out. It is Invictus Fallout. It's a new show that we're doing. It is the post show for all of their events. So I did a lot of real cool stuff for that. You get to see interviews, some highlights of matches. It's a fun time overall. So you can follow me over there. You can follow the Classic Match Classroom if you want to. We're not going to be posting much over there, but you can follow just for old time's sake.
Check out the archives, and you never know. We might be bored this summer and throw an episode or two up every now and then.
Yeah,
right?
There's always some matches that we need to talk about. We still haven't reviewed DX and the Nation yet, we have some episodes in the can.
You're just dangling war games in front of me.
I know, right there. You can follow us though at Classic Match Classroom on Instagram. And one more time, for good time's sake, you can follow us on Twitter at CM Classroom, not to be confused with
CM Punk.
CM Punk himself. But yeah, just follow me there on the Titantron. Again, I'm not really doing much with the Titantron nowadays, but on Instagram at the Titantron Podcast, on Twitter at _Titantron. Subscribe. I'm almost at 200 subscribers for some reason.
Hey, there you go.
Get me there.
Yeah, subscribe to us too.
Yeah. While you're
subscribe to everybody.
And last thing I'll say is just the Turnbuckle Tavern. Those guys are doing some great work. Subscribe to them. They're on Instagram. It's you can find everything at theturnbuckletavern.com. That's where you can find all the links to support everything. We're doing some great work. And that's where you can find me.
Yeah, and I did an episode with those guys. Awesome guys. It was such a fun time. They always have great conversations. So check them out. I give them the it might not be the after seal of approval, but I give them the Tyler Wolf seal of approval.
The Tyler Wolf seal of approval.
That means anything. I might have just tanked their show by saying that. I don't know, but
oh shit.
And that's gonna put a bow on this week, man. Thank you so much, Anthony. It was so fun to get together again and do this. It's
Anytime,
been too
man.
long.
Absolutely.
Next week is my birthday week.
Oh,
so I have decided to give you guys a present.
Wow.
And I am going to be joined for a very special interview from one half of the legendary tag team, the Killer Bees. Jumpin' Jim Brunzell is going to be counted out next week. My birthday gift to you guys.
I'm glad he's a big name, because when you told me him, I was like, who the fuck is that? Because I know nothing about old wrestling, but Killer Bees, I knew that. And that's a pretty big name. So you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, and I will just tell you right now, you will not want to miss the story that he tells about Mad Dog Vachon, Quaaludes, and an airplane.
Well, if you weren't tuning in now, that's definitely a reason to tune in.
And on that note, on behalf of Anthony and on behalf of Mad Dog Vachon and his Quaaludes, and of course, Jim Brunzell, we have been counted out. Cheers.
Peace.